Have you been struggling with growing your music business as an independent artist? Well, I totally get it. Lots of musicians are out there struggling right now because they don't understand some of the core principles they need to actually accelerate their growth. And one of the biggest holes that I've been noticing talking with artists one-on-one every single day and working with them as one-on-one clients is that there is a philosophy that a lot of artists are not implementing that could accelerate their music business. Okay, so what is it? It's putting your fans first. Let me ask you a question. How many of you out there genuinely put your fans first in all aspects of your music business? Be honest out there, drop it in the comments. And I want you to know that some people may think, oh, this is obvious, I put my fans first. But really what that gets interpreted as is, I care about my fans. Okay, caring about your fans is one thing. Putting your fans first in different aspects of your music business is a whole other thing. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you 3 things that will accelerate in your music business when you start to understand putting your fans first is the best way to go. Now, when I get into this, I want to make a little disclaimer here. I'm not referring to you creating your music. I think there is something to be said that whenever you as an artist go to create your music, you should kind of be left to create your music the way that's most authentic to you. I think that's how artists are going to produce the best work possible. And as a consequence, you don't necessarily have to listen to the fans 100% when it comes to writing. Maybe you take a tiny, tiny little percentage of feedback from some trusted fans in your social circle. I call this the law of 33%, where you get your feedback about a given project from 3 different tiers. You get it from fans, layman's, so to speak. You get it from your peers, your fellow musicians, and then your mentors, people that are where you want to be. And so it's okay to get advice from fans who are in a close circle who you trust your art with. But as far as letting them determine your art, I'm not a big fan of that. But in every other aspect of your music business, I am a firm believer that you should put your fans first. Now, what does that mean? Let's break this down. So, first things first, your brand authenticity. Branding, a lot of musicians don't understand what a brand is. Some people think it's like a logo. And that's a part of a brand, but that's not the entirety of what a brand is. A brand is the internal assumptions that your fans have about you before really knowing much about you. So for example, if I'm just walking down the street and I see a band on the corner and they're all in black, I haven't even said anything else other than they're all in black, and you've probably limited it down to a few different genres of music that they could be playing. It's very unlikely that the singer-songwriter pop stars are going to be all in black on the corner, right? As I get closer, I start to see logos that look like tree branches placed together in different assortments. Now you're starting to see. You've probably already guessed the genre that I've seen on the corner here, but let's go a little bit further. I get closer and I realize those aren't just some very pale white people. Those people have face paint on that is actually called corpse paint. Ah, this is a black metal band. And I could, obviously I had to, I'm just exaggerating a little bit here, but you could have told me who that band was probably halfway through the story, right? Because the assumptions that you get from the visuals can help inform what the artist is about. And that's what a brand is. So what you want to do when it comes to your brand is you want fans to have internal assumptions in their mind that are positive and work in your favor towards your music business. Now, one of the things that you need to understand is in the music business and in the internet age, especially on the internet, people see through fakeness, okay? Being authentic is absolutely crucial, right? Everyone can see when someone's putting on an act, right? If anybody's ever hung out with me in any social setting, you know this is how I talk to people. I talk to people this animated all the time. I'm always waving my hands around. This is just how I communicate with people, right? But if I was sitting here and I was like, hello, I am a professional and I'm going to teach you today you would see right through that. You would see that that's not him. He's playing some kind of act. If you guys are wondering, I do wear multicolored sunglasses all around and inside sometimes. I'm like the Blues Brothers. No, I'm just kidding. So the idea here is you want to be yourself, as true to yourself as possible. But then also think about how can I craft my image and present myself strategically so that the fans that I'm trying to attract will have the right assumptions about me. Because here's what we need to understand. As far as branding goes, people say, don't judge a book by its cover. But what does every single person do? Judge a book by their cover. It's what human beings do. We're assumptive creatures, right? And so what happens is we need to stack the deck in our favor and think ahead of time, okay, if I'm going to present myself to this ideal fan who fits a certain demographic, what are the messages they need to hear from me? What are the things they need to see from me to show not only that I'm someone who they should be interested in, but that I am still me. I'm not thinking about what they want and changing who I am to fit that mold. I'm figuring out how who they are and who I are align together. And so when I create my marketing, I'm creating the unity and the attraction to bridge that gap, okay? So that, I know I went through a lot of in-depth branding stuff there really fast, but hopefully you guys get the concept that you're trying to create the internal assumptions that people out there in the general marketplace that are listening to music are going to have when they see your logo, they see a video of yours, your profile. It's very, very powerful to have this cohesive imagery because you can start to stack the deck in your favor. And this is going to create a lot of bonds, right? If you create your social profile where you're putting the fans first, right? You're always commenting, you're DMing people, you're doing little contests and giveaways, and you're just giving love, right? You will build this assumption that when people just go to your profile and they click on any video, they see comments, they see how you engage with people, and they see that this person who I'm seeing in the video and in the comments, they're all genuine, they're all the same person, right? Everything's cohesive, and that builds that sort of bond between you and fan to where they're gonna go check out your link tree or whatever's in your link in your bio and go check out your music. Now, you can get a lot of listens just from building brand authenticity. Look at guys like Forrest Frank. I know I talk about him a lot because he kills it in the content game. But he is a Christian rapper, and he owns that identity. He owns that niche because that is him. And so he creates his messaging for his tribe, so to speak, and nobody else. Because he's not trying to attract the black metal fans of the world. He's going for a specific demographic, but he's also being himself at the same time. So it's a balancing act of understanding what the marketplace needs to see and hear from you to have the right internal assumptions about you that are favorable for your music business, while also maintaining your integrity of who you are authentically, okay? So that's the first benefit of putting your fans first, is that you start to see how to position your branding in a way that can best attract them. But by being authentic and being yourself, you're actually building up this image not just of superficial things, because once they superficially notice you, there has to be something underneath, right? There can't just be a surface level facade and nothing substantial underneath. Once they go and see how you interact with people and how you engage with the camera and stuff, now they're starting to build up who you are, and they can build that trust and bond and see how authentic you are and how everything about your brand and image as an artist is all cohesive. All right. Number 2, let's dive into that. What's the next thing that we need to understand to help our business explode inside of our music business? So what we're doing is we're looking at putting the fans first in all aspects. That includes what you sell to them. All right, I know a lot of people don't like to think about selling. It's like a dirty word. You think of Billy Mays and selling OxyClean. I get it. Or the ShamWow guy. That's a character, right? I almost forgot about him and all the stories associated. It's very fun. Go look it up. Anyway, ShamWow. So the sales can start to increase if we start to look at how do we put forward our business practice. Because the type of businesses I'm talking about where you can tell the main purpose of this is just to extract money, and they could kind of care less about your experience through it. It's just very much set up as a system to take your money, and it's obvious and transparent that that's what that is. Nobody likes going through that. And I know artists that will set up email lists, for example, and the very first email they'll send to somebody as soon as they join is, hey, do you want to spend a bunch of money with me? Excuse me. And I think that's the wrong way to go about it, because you're starting this relationship off with an ask, right? And what I like to do is think, how can I provide value to the fans first? Again, putting the fans first. I'm putting myself in their shoes. If I just join this email list, what would be something I'd want to see? What's something I want to know about? And I start to reverse engineer that stuff so I can tell the right stories. And once I start to tell the right stories, as they go through the emails, we're building that bond and trust even deeper, right? Because when people engage with you at the social media level, they engage with your brand and your content and all that kind of good stuff, and they DM you, that's sort of top of funnel, meaning, they're sort of aware of you and they're interested, but now we're moving them down to the second level, people on the email list. So too many people get excited and go for the kill, so to speak, and ask for money. What I do is I try to build that bond even deeper right there so that we can figure out how do we position ourselves so that when we do ask for money from our fans, because that's what we're going to do, we're going to say, hey fans, I have a thing of value I want to give you in exchange for some of your money. Oh, did that make some of y'all cringe when I said it out loud like that? It's okay. I wanted to go through that because sometimes artists feel so weird about asking for money and acknowledging that that's what they're doing. You're asking for money, but you're not asking for a handout. You actually provide something of value that is worth the money. So don't freak out just asking your fans for money. Okay, I could go up. That's like a whole other video about why we're trained to think that way, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. The whole point is, during the sales process, if you put your fans first instead of your profits first, what you're going to start to understand is you can build that connection even deeper so that you do not have to sell as hard. If you tried to build no rapport and connection in this phase in your business with your fans, it's going to be you're going to have to sell them hard. You're going to have to ninja the F out of somebody just to get them to buy something, right? But if you build it the right way, you do it the non-sleazy way, and you just tell them stories about you and you position this stuff in the right way, then they get to the end of these stories and they naturally come to the conclusion, I want to support this artist. I want to support them on their mission to do X, Y, and Z. And that's what we build inside of our systems for our clients and stuff, and that we help them get fans like this all the time that want to buy. It's because we're building the stories that build that bond and know, like, and trust factor, and nobody is going to buy from you if they do not have the know, like, and trust factor. They have to have those three things. And so that's what we focus on, putting the fans first so they can understand who we are, and we're not putting our pocketbooks first to figure out how we can just monetize as soon as they get into the email list, right? So that's the first thing, or I should say the second thing, that starts to improve in your business is you start to get more sales as a consequence. So think about the kind of trickling down that's happening here. I know some of you guys are going to hate that I use that phrase, but whatever. Sorry. So you have people that are aware of your brand. They're like, oh, this music is really cool. The image, the art, the person, they all seem cohesive and genuine and authentic. I'm going to go listen to their music. Check it out. So now they start listening and they're like, oh, I like the music. That's awesome. You know what? I want to know more about this artist. I want to get more into the community. Let me join their email list or their text list. Then what happens? Now, instead of you being like, hey, welcome to the list. You want to buy something? You go, hey, what's going on? Welcome to this list. If you don't mind, I want to take a second to tell you a little bit about like who I am and how I got here, because it's been a crazy ride and I want to tell you about my journey. I guarantee you, no matter what, most of you out there have had probably crazy enough experiences in your life trying to become a musician that you've got stories to share with people. I don't care if I was 8 years old and I had asthma, and I had a hard time playing trumpet because I had asthma. I don't care what the situation is, no matter how dorky or whatever you may assume it is. Take any moments in your life on your journey to being a musician and start to communicate that, right? There's a way to do it so that you communicate these messages so that they care. That's the main thing. Most people, they get that you're an artist and you're trying to grow or whatever, but why should they care that much? This is where we help build that care. And then the care, whenever they're like, yeah, I do care about this. Hey, here's a way to support me. Now we can actually make some sales and monetize. But that's not the only thing that increases in your business as a consequence of putting your fans first. And before I move on, I want to give you an example where I've even had clients who've done surveys of their audience and they find out the specific items their fans want to buy. And guess what they make for their fans? Those items that ranked highest in the survey. And guess what actually sells? The offers. They finally sell. Most people are like, why aren't my offers selling? Why aren't my offers selling? I'm like, have you surveyed your audience to figure out what people want and then only given them that? Not, I hope they like this thing that's kind of close to it, but more like what I want to sell. No. Figure out what they want and then give them that. If they're like, we need hoodies, and you're like, here's a long sleeve shirt. They're like, Okay, but we want hoodies. You know what I'm saying? You're throwing money away by wasting money on inventory potentially, on getting products set up that the fans don't even want. So figuring out what they want first and foremost can inform you whenever you go to create offers. And now when you sell things, people are gonna be like, wow, it's like you read my mind. It's like, yeah, because I asked what people wanted and I just gave them that thing. It's a very basic business principle that gets overlooked all the time, is figure out what the market wants and then give them that thing. And so just ask your fans. Because when people get mad at my video where I talk about music not being the core product of a music business anymore, what I ask people to do is ask your fans what the core product is. What is the main thing your fans want from you? Are your fans producers and actually need help producing their songs and you could help them? Hey, that's more of a service as opposed to a product, but hey, that could generate some income. Are a majority of your fans, I don't know, in a state that's really, really cold or a country that's really, really cold and so they need beanies and hoodies that are really thick and sweatpants? Okay, now we've got some places we can start, right? But all of that information is what would the fans want? It's not what do I think as an artist would be cool. Oh, I think it'd be cool if we had a tank top. I think it'd be cool if we had one of those zip up things. Like, okay, that's cool what you want, but what do your fans who are going to be buying it want? Because unless you're going to be buying your own product, who cares what you think about your, like, I know this sounds kind of harsh, but you should like your merch just enough to get it out there for the fans who like it more than you like it. If that makes sense to some people. I would need to elaborate on that a little bit, but it's like, you may think this, some people may say, this is too simple of a shirt idea. I've had some people be like, I literally just want a black shirt with your logo in white. And we're like, that's such a simple shirt design. I don't want to make that. But guess what? They want to buy that. So what did we do? We made the shirt. So it's one of those things that we have to figure out what they want. And even if we're like, I don't want to make a mug. Well, they want to buy a mug. So go make a mug. You could still, guess what? You making a mug versus a t-shirt does not affect your music in any way. So why are we getting bent out of shape about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, some artists get real caught up in this thing where I'm like, guys, if your fans have said they want X, sell them X. It's very simple. Go make the music you make. When it comes to what you sell, ask them what they want. All right. Number 3 that gets improved as you start to put your fans first, as opposed to your profits first, is your reputation, your word of mouth. Like, put it this way. One of the artists that I've worked with, I was on tour with a couple years ago actually now, is a band called Tremonti. Okay, now Tremonti, the lead singer of that is Mark Tremonti, who is the guitar player for Creed and Alter Bridge, one of my favorite bands. Alter Bridge, not Creed. I do like some of Creed, but I really like Alter Bridge. And I was going on tour with them, and I had heard online the reputation about how Mark is one of the most down-to-earth guys you'll ever meet. He's super humble, he's super chill. Everyone in Alter Bridge is really chill and really nice. You never really know until you meet somebody, right? And when we got on tour with this person, guess what? He was awesome. He was super chill, he was super down-to-earth, no ego whatsoever. We played ping pong together and he absolutely destroyed me. It was crazy how good at ping pong that dude is. I was not expecting that at all. I was like, I know a little bit around the ping pong, and he starts like balls of fury doing tricks on me, and I'm just like, what? He starts like hitting it off my forehead and it's bouncing back to him, and he's just hitting it off my forehead over and over again. No, I'm just kidding. No, but he was really, really good at ping pong, and we were just chilling, and it was like, he was such a cool guy, and his reputation preceded him. I kind of knew that I didn't have to worry about approaching this guy because the word of mouth had spread, right? Now, being humble, in a sense, is a way of putting your fans first. Because think about it. If I'm putting myself first, if a fan approaches me and I'm dismissive and I'm annoyed because I'm trying to do something and you're interrupting me and blah, blah, I'm trying to do this and you're interrupting me. If I'm putting myself first, I will inevitably transfer that emotion to them. They're going to pick up on it and they're going to tell people about how they met me and I was really dismissive and they didn't like that. And that's going to, hey, so-and-so met this person and said they were kind of rude, and then now it just spreads. So you guys may be familiar with the term nuclear fission. Some of you guys are like, what? No. Here's what this is relevant for. Nuclear fission is like how a bomb goes off, right? A nuclear explosion happens. And what happens is you have an explosion that turns into 2 explosions, that turns into 4 explosions, that turns like that's a very oversimplified way of putting that, by the way. You can think of it like I have 1 cookie and I give it to, no, I'm just kidding, I'm not going to do that. Basically, you have this multiplication, exponential growth thing that happens with nuclear fission, and this atom splits so rapidly and then it creates this giant explosion. But for your marketing and your word of mouth, that's exactly what happens there. Someone tells 2 people, so okay, now 3 people know, and then they all tell 2 people, so now you've just like squared that, and so you keep on going, or cubed it, whatever, and you just keep on going and going and going and going and going, and it starts to grow exponentially. And being this, having this fan first mentality will put you in a position where anytime you have an engagement with somebody who's a fan, you create this vibe where when they talk about you, they say nothing but good things. I remember I went on tour one time with a band called Nothing More, and we just kind of put our head to the grindstone and tried to be professional and not freak out the fact that we were on this wonderful sold out tour. And I remember someone else met me and said, "Hey, you're in that band." I was like, "Yeah." And they said, "Do you know Ryan, the TM for Nothing More?" And I was like, yeah, we went on tour with them. I know Ryan. And then like later on down the road, they were like, "Yeah, I ran into Dax from Kira." And then Ryan told this guy, like, "Yeah, oh gosh, they were so easy to work with, so chill, so cool." And that helped us build more relationships to like, oh, these people are cool. They're in my circle, right? So that starts to spread, and now they'll tell more people, and that'll help our brand in another way. And what we did is just kind of put other people first. And that's kind of the core message that I'm giving you guys today is, as artists, when we create, we're so focused in here about what we want and how things need to sound to create the art that we want to create, that we can take that controlling, everything needs to be done the way I want it done and everything that I desire. The I mentality starts to leak into the business. And it's very obvious sometimes where I can see these artists who have these systems all set up in glorification of I, as opposed to looking at their fans and thinking, how can I create systems to deliver them what they want so that helps improve my business, right? It's all about putting others first. And by doing that, this helps your marketing. So think about this for a second. The first point was brand authenticity, people's first assumptions of you, right? Oh gosh, all the imagery and all this stuff, I'm interested in this. It's attracting me to like this kind of stuff. Oh, I'll check out their music. You've enhanced your listeners. Then as the listeners are in the world, you start to drive them into your email list. Now those people get fed the story of how you got where you are today. And now your sales start to increase when you actually go to make the ask because they've been primed and pre-framed to actually care. You know what I'm saying? And then finally, you engage with people now that they've bought from you and now they've been engaging with you. You maybe respond to a couple emails and you send out thank yous and all this kind of different stuff. Do giveaways. You show how much you appreciate your fans. You say it with your words. Sometimes it's just as simple as communicating with your words. I value every single one of you. Thank you for being here. That goes a long way, man. So if you can't provide too much value in the terms of like giveaways, give them some words, that are actually affirming and awesome, like give them some positivity, something. So that right there, that is 3 elements that will help you actually start to grow your business by not putting yourself first or profits first, but by putting your fans first. And when you put your fans first, you start to find out what your music business is actually capable of. So if you got some value out of today's video, you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, notification bell, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And also, if you'd like some one-on-one help with your music business, we do have some slots that are available right now. We had some people graduate, and so we had some openings. So there is an application link in the description if that's something that's interesting to you. Otherwise, I will see you on another video inside of Musicians Ignite. Take care, everybody.